So in today's video, we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful Adiwe dress with a bishop collar and a keyhole neckline. If that's what you want to learn how to make, keep watching till the very end. So I didn't finish up my basic bodice block and I'm going to be finishing it up immediately. So you'll be needing your basic bodice block. Of course, I have my bust point line, my waistline, my hip line. This is my armhole line, my shoulder slope, and I'll go ahead to complete the neckline. So from the shoulder slope, I removed 2.5 inches and the depth of your neckline should be 3 inches. This is because you want to achieve a collar, all right? So you're going to be using a curved rule to connect that 2.5 inches to the depth of 3 inches. Now you're going to be marking your bust apart measurement from the center front, and on your waistline you impute that intake, all right? Whatever you're doing should be half on both sides. If you're using 1 inch, 0.5, 0.5 on both sides. Then you're going to be connecting it from the bust point. Then at between the hip region, between the waistline and the hip region, I'm going to be marking 4 inches downwards. So from the that intake at the waist, you're going to be connecting it to the 4 inches between the waistline and the hip, like so. So I'm going ahead to connect this now. And this is what our waist dart looks like. So the next thing is to impute your measurements. Whatever your measurement is, you're going to be imputing the quarter of it all the way, like so. Please, this is not a proper basic bodice tutorial. I'll be doing a proper basic bodice tutorial. You guys have been asking for that. I'll do a proper basic bodice tutorial. But please, this is not a proper basic bodice tutorial, especially if you're a beginner. But if you're not a beginner, this is a guide. Like, it's going to help you to know what to do. So whatever you mark as your hip measurement is what you're going to be marking all the way to the hem. This is not a pencil skirt. We're not trying to achieve any pencil, whatever. So whatever you mark as your hip measurement is what you're going to be marking all the way down to the hem. And from the hip, I'm connecting to the waist. From the waist, you're connecting to the bust, all right? Like I'm doing now. And I'll also go ahead to extend that very line of the bust to this point so we can impute our armhole curve. And on this armhole line, I'm going to be marking the center of it. All right. Then I'll be going inward by 1 inch. And then I'm going to be imputing my armhole curve like so. Like I said before, if you're a beginner, you might not get this clearly. But if you're not a beginner, it's going to be okay for you to use it as a base. So for my side bust dart, I always love to mark my side bust dart somewhere like 1 inch or 1.5 inch before the under bust. So I went ahead to trace where my under bust measurement is, like you saw me doing from the shoulder all the way down. And once I got that, I went ahead to impute my side bust dart from there. So I'm going ahead now to marking my side bust dart. Okay. If you have your basic bodice already, it should be looking like what I have now. Okay, but then I'll try my best to put up a basic bodice tutorial, a proper one, so you guys can, see, especially for the beginners. But like I said, if you're not a beginner, you should be able to grab what is going on here. So now we're done with the basic bodice and we're going into the tutorial proper. So for the neckline, from this very point of your basic neckline, you're going to be coming down by, I used 3.5 inches here. Whatever you're coming down by is up to you, all right? We are trying to create that keyhole neckline that looks like an egg shape. So you want the beginning part to be kind of tiny, and getting to the ending part of it is going to be like a circle, like spherical, okay? It's not a circle, the shape is spherical. So that is what we are trying to achieve now. Like I said, the measurement of the depth. So I'm going ahead to draw it, the shape like I told you guys. As you can see, it's spherical in nature. Like, that's what the shape looks like, spherical. So I'm going to have to use my marker to make this obvious. And this is what the shape looks like. The depth of this very particular keyhole neckline is up to you. But don't do so much so you don't reveal cleavage. Now for that very flare part, you can start from your hip line or 2 inches after or below your hip line. All right. So for the sake of this tutorial, I'm starting exactly at this hip line. Like I said, you can start 2 inches below your hip line. In fact, from what I'm seeing on the screen, please, it is best you start 3 inches below your hip line. It's not exactly at the hip line, please. So start 3 inches below your hip line. Please take note of that. 3 inches below your hip line. Please, 3 inches below your hip line. So now to work on the upper part of it, I'm just going to be cutting open my dart. We are not using any kind of princess seam for this tutorial. And I will advise, do not use any kind of princess seam for this tutorial because of the turtleneck. So you are free. All right. So do not use any kind of princess seam. Even the one on the screen, the one on the thumbnail that we're recreating, there was no form of princess seam that was used for it. Look at the underbust properly. It wasn't contoured. So just cut open your darts. All right. That's the best way to achieve this design. Then you're going to be placing your dart, this very pattern, on the fabric. Remember, you're cutting this very part on fold. All right. So when you cut this part on fold, you're going to be using your chalk or your pencil or whatever it is you're using to trace to mark inside the dart, which is going to appear on your fabric. Please mark on the wrong side. It's going to appear on your fabric. So that which appeared on your fabric is what you're going to take to the sewing machine and sew it up as the dart of this very design. And you're going to be having a beautiful fit. So having done that, that is all for that part. The next thing we're going to do is to slash and spread for the lower part. Do not forget to come down by 3 inches from your upper bodies after the hip before you cut out this part. Please, 3 inches from your upper bodies from the hip before you cut out this dart. Do not start from the prominent, do not start from where your hip is prominent, okay? 3 inches below it, all right? So I'm going ahead now to slash and spread this pattern. And this is what the slash and spread looks like. It's actually very simple because there's no dart going in anywhere. We're not closing up any dart and stuff. So you're just going to be slashing and spreading up until this point. And do not forget, don't overspread it. Like, how do I explain to you guys? Don't overspread it so it does not, the flare does not look like a wedding dress. It should be moderate. Do not overspread it, okay? I think on the hem, if you go all the way by 4 inches or 5 inches, it should be okay from the hem. 4 or 5 inches should be okay from the hem. So this is what all these patterns look like. Please do not forget, come down 3 inches from your hip before you cut out the down part of it, which you're going to slash and spread. We'll head over now to draft the back of it. All right, we're going to draft the back of this pattern. So this is the back pattern looking like the front, but trust me, they are not the same. The way it was drafted is not the same. So the depth of the back is 0.5 inches, the depth of the neckline. Of course, you want to make sure that your shoulder for front and back is the same. So when you're joining, you don't have issues. And of course, like I said, you have to come down 3 inches from your hip measurement to cut. So whatever you came down from the front to cut should be the same thing you're doing to the back. I'm going to show you guys what I mean right now. So this is the front pattern, okay? I'm placing the shoulder to the shoulder. And by the time you've sewed up your side bust dart, can you see it's aligning? So you that is going to come down by 3 inches, make sure that the front and the back is aligning before you cut out. If possible, place the front to the back and check it before you mark where to cut for your slash and spread that you'll be using for the hem, okay? So I'm gonna have to cut this side, this place out now for the sake of this tutorial. And I'm going to be setting that aside so I can work on the upper part of the back. So the next thing we're going to do, like we did to the front, is to cut open the dart. Like I said, there's no princess seam, whatever that is going on in this pattern. It's just the basic dart. But if you get this right, you'll be wowed at the fit you have, right? So we're going to be cutting the dart open. Same thing you did to the front. Place it on your fabric, trace out that dart on the wrong side, and sew it up and iron it out, all right? So you have to trace it on your fabric. Trace exactly the way you have cut, please, on your fabric, and then sew it up at the sewing machine and iron it out. So this is for the lower part of it. I'm marking center back and I'm marking up to indicate that this is the upper part of it. And this is the hem, okay? So the next thing we are going to do right now is to start slashing and spreading. Please, while you slash and spread, do not forget that the number of fullness you have at the front should be the same thing with what you're having at the back. Let it be uniform. Do not let the back be smaller than the front or the front smaller than the back. If you've used 5 inches to spread out the hem of the front, also use 5 inches to spread out the hem of the back, all right? So everything is in uniform. There should be uniformity in your design, especially when it comes to flares and all that. So here is it for the back. I'm going to have to place it together. Please do not forget 3 inches downwards after the hip line before you cut out for the slash and spread. So let's head to the sleeve. I've been seeing this sleeve trending like in so many designs now. So we're going to be doing a proper tutorial for the sleeve now. Now this is what your basic sleeve looks like, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark this very point. This very point that I marked is the bicep, the upper arm, okay? So from that upper arm, there's already a line there while I was drafting the sleeve pattern. So I'm going to be extending the line all the way to the back also like this. So that bicep line is going to be your guide to create this very sleeve. So now I'm going to be marking 2 inches upwards from here, and also same thing, 2 inches upwards from here. I'm going to be curving the 2 inches into that bicep line or upper arm line. So I'm going to be curving it like so into that part. And then with my scissors, I'm going to be cutting this out. So do not forget to label front and back so you do not place it wrongly. And this is what the sleeve looks like. So we're going to be checking it out on our pattern to see what it looks like. Like I said, do not forget to label so you'll be placing the right size, okay? So this is what it looks like. Can you see that? So this is what this sleeve looks like, right? So the next thing we are going to do for this tutorial now is the collar, the bishop collar or the Madrid, no, I don't know, either bishop collar or Madrid collar, I've actually forgotten. So what you're going to do now is to take a measurement of the round neckline of the front, and you're going to be writing it down. Whatever the measurement is, please do what to write it down. Take this measurement accurately. You do what to write it down. And you also get your back pattern. Take the measurement also, right? Take the neckline measurement of the back pattern also. Then you go ahead and sum up this very measurement you got with that of the front. So that is what I'm summing up right here. And after everything, I think I ended up with about 7.7 inches. So you have to do yours, add it up, and get your measurement. So I ended up with 7.7 inches. That was what I got. And then I'm going to be drawing a line, ruling a line ladder. This line is like a guideline. Then from that guideline, I'm going to be marking 7.7 inches. And on the 7.7 inches line, I'm going to be squaring another line upwards and downwards like so. So now you want to determine the length of your collar. I will advise you use 1 inch. This is a very feminine cloth. You don't want it to, this is a very feminine design, so the collar shouldn't be that much standing. So 1 inch is okay. Then I'm marking the 1 inch all the way straight like so, and I'm using my ruler to connect the dotted lines together. So if you watch carefully, you'll find out that at the center front of this very neckline, it's kind of curved, all right? So I'm going to be giving that curved effect like so, and that is what I am doing right now. Just like, let's say, 1/2 inch from the center front, you want to curve it in to meet the actual center front. And that will be all for this tutorial. Please do not click out for the cutting part of it. I'm going to be showing you how to cut this very neckline or collar out. So we're going ahead now to cut it. And I'll also go ahead to label. I'm labeling here as my center back. You have to cut this part on fold so you can have a one piece. And this is my center front, okay? Also, the down part is where you're going to be stitching to your dress. Now, when you want to cut this on your fabric, be sure you fold the fabric on a bias, okay? And remember the part where you're cutting on fold, you have to fold the fabric on a bias in a way that when you place your pattern, that part where you're cutting on fold is actually on fold. Please do not forget to place on bias. So I went ahead to tape that collar to the front neckline, and as you can see, this is the way it's standing. And these are all my patterns, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.